This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Well, good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. Wow. It's 2025. Whoa. Yes, it's a good day. I hope you're having a happy new year. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and all your dreams came true. And you got all the gifts. If not, the seals are on. And I might be solo today. I mean, somebody might Zoom in or call in a little later. But today is dedicated to Hiram. Everybody who knows me and people who are learning about me know that my oldest son passed in the spirit 2005. It's been a long time. And, in those days, I mean, we might even pay him a long time coming. But anyway, it's been a long time. 20 years, that's 2 decades. And, in those days, people wasn't having as much technology as it is today. I mean, although people pass on in the spirit, nowadays, at least they might have their voice or video. So early on, that wasn't as possible as it is today. But I'm just going to talk about Hiram, my oldest, and his love for his brothers, and how he lived. And there's also a video out there under my name, Rev Walden. It's a video about Hiram and my love for him. And it's available to people. You know how things are on the internet, so it's available. And it's about a mother's love. Only a mother can tell the story. I mean, fathers are absolutely involved, but they're not involved at the level that mothers are. When the baby's crying at night, some fathers get up and some don't. But gee whiz. I invited some other mothers to come on, and sometimes it's kind of hard to talk about things because one thing I've noticed, if your son didn't die a certain way, then sometimes you're not in all the clubs. And because my son didn't die from gun violence, he had an illness, and I had a semester of care for him, a whole semester. And if you're from down south, you know semesters. Oh, if you're from up here, you know quarters. But anyway, a whole semester of care. And he loved music. He was out, true transparency. He was out as a gay man, was out as a teenager. And everybody had to be flexible. And learn how to love in a different way. Because Reverend Hall says, by the way, this is a podcast later on. And tell your friends about what love is. Because this is a love story. I mean, it really, truly is. Because love is all there is. At the end, it's only love. Now, we can fight about other things and, we can do all this other stuff. But at the end of time, at the end of our individual time, not the end of time for the world, but when we are no longer here, or our family member, it's only love that matters. And it takes us some time to really, really, really realize that. And so we're going to talk about love and my love for Hiram. And I'm sure people who will be listening to this later will think about the love they have for their loved ones who is beyond the view, is what I call it. Life after life is what it is. So let's just have a great time today. Well, let me tell you one thing about me. I love to talk. When I was in school, especially when I was in first grade, my neighbor was my first grade teacher, Mrs. Franklin. And all of my life growing up, especially in elementary school, my name was always on the board to be a talker. And the teacher would walk back in the room, and all black school, we were segregated, and maybe stronger and better in a lot of ways. But the teacher would walk back in the room and say, "I know Harriet Walden's name is on the board for talking." So now I get to talk, and I've been on the air since 2014 and absolutely love radio. Grew up with radio. I grew up with radio, and so it's still a fun place for me to be at. And I know it's a lot of other people out there on radio, and I want my show to be uplifting when it can be. I mean, we have to talk about some of the things that's happening in the world. And my theme song is "We who love freedom cannot wait." I mean, it's like freedom, and today is a changing of the guard. And if you were raised or born at a certain time, you understand this. For other people who was raised after a certain time, they might not just understand it. But through it all, love is the only thing that lasts. Governments go and governments come throughout time. You've had Genghis Khan, you've had Hitler, you've had some benevolent people, and some have not been benevolent. But again, the only thing that lasts is love. And Hiram was my firstborn. And he was born in California. I actually was born in Santa Monica and raised in Seattle most of his life. So we came here in 1975, and I had my former husband and Mr. Salisbury. He's in spirit now. He's in the spirit world. But we came up on the Greyhound bus. Oh, it is okay. All right. Well, I'll finish this little segment here, and then we'll bring Mr. Ryan on. But it's like wow, it is so cool to talk about love. It really is, especially love of your children. We're not perfect parents, but we all love our children in whatever capacity we can. So we'll take a break right now. Paul's talking about Hiram. We'll take a break, and then we'll bring on Mr. Rye. All right, take care. We'll be right back. Harriet on 11:50 a.m. KKNW, Mother's Justice Show.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Oh, good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there. And that song is for my son, Hiram. He's in spirit. We're honoring him today. But we're also going to bring in some real life this right now, this on the planet. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Rye and his guests.
Thank you, Rev Harriett. As you know, there's been quite a dispute over a historic landmark on 23rd and Pike. Seattle black firefighters purchased that house in 1984, and the new black firefighters have sold 2 lots and a house for $680,000. And there will be a court hearing on Wednesday at 1 o'clock at the Regional Justice Center, the Justice Superior Court is what it is. But anyway, Yohannes Sium is the attorney, and Rev Harriett, he was an understudy with Lim Howe, so he's sharp. So
oh yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to have Yohannes just give an update on what's happening and where we are with that dispute. So Attorney Yohannes Sium, go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. We have, like you said, a hearing on Wednesday, January 8th at 1 p.m., and I'll give you the address online if people have it. I hope we can post it afterwards. But it's 401 4th Avenue, North, Kent, the King County Superior Court, Mailing Regional Justice Center. And the hearing is going to be related to a number of things, and all sort of centering around the house. We're asking for rescission of the sale of the house. We believe it's illegal. We also are asking for a motion for contempt for the production of records, basically transparency, to see what happened, why they sold this house. Again, what we believe is illegally and cheaply. And also to add the buyer to the lawsuit, and the finance company. Some of you may remember, the buyer stormed our press conference a couple weeks ago,
right.
And there's plenty of video of that. So as far as an update, that's the next thing happening. We had a press conference with Joy Hollingsworth and others in the community just a couple days ago, and there's been more media covering that. There's been more articles on Converge Media, probably other places like the Medium. The Medium has written 3 articles related to this, and Seattle Times is going to write an article, and I believe there's some interest from the television stations. So really the community is coming out to support us in big ways. It's really just a pretty straightforward issue of illegal activity. I do, Reverend, I know you mentioned on the last time I was on here that maybe some folks could get a van, or we can help people with transportation.
Right. I was going to ask that question again because some people like myself right now, I'm driving, but I'm not driving far right now. So if you got transportation, I'll come. But without transportation, I won't be able to show up. So I tell you that right now. But go ahead and tell.
You want to make sure you get there. But I do want to say, let Yohannes know, the gentleman that did all the video and that did the interview that's posted right now, Omari Salisbury, is Reverend Walden's son.
That's my baby.
Okay, I want to make sure you knew.
That's my baby.
He's done a phenomenal job, well edited. He posted it right away. I was really impressed with the level of quality there.
It's a Emmy awarding company. Conversion Media is. They got an Emmy for the work that they do.
I believe that, and I got the attention. Their work got the attention of the bigger media like Seattle Times and I think some of the TV stations. It really helps us bring just awareness. All we're asking for is a light to be shone on this for transparency, because our black firefighters, in particular the retired black firefighters, have been completely disrespected, disregarded.
That's right.
And it's not fair. So I appreciate that, Eddie Rye. If you, I know, Reverend, you had the idea of creating some van rides or transportation. I appreciate, Eddie, if you could help with that, because I do believe, based on the press conference we had a couple days ago and just the online campaign, that there will be pretty good showing at the court, which is important for us because it makes the court realize that this is an issue of great community interest and should be scrutinized very closely because the community is watching.
Well, I agree with that. And I just want to say a couple things. I mean, Hiram is waiting, but we'll get back to your son. But listen, with the change of what's happening in America today, and we know that it's happened. I'm canceling all my other subscriptions because I don't want to wake up to that every day. But I think that what this is going to do, and this might be the catalyst for us in the Pacific Northwest, is to come again to organize like they did when I came in 1975 with Annie Jones and all of these people. They were great organizers, and they kept going for a while. And I tried to organize the Save the Central area, but nobody would understand what gentrification was until it was here. So we need a catalyst, and maybe this might be the catalyst to wake up the younger people, because if this is what the firefighters did, and they were the recipient of the work of Claude Harris and all of those other people. See, so so anyway, I just say that Mr. Ryan, he knows because he's been in the fight for a long time. I mean, he got a daughter in the fight. I got Chakundi Tundi. Tundi he sells eyeglasses, but I have Chakundi and Omai still out there doing the work. So you know what? Sometimes we have to wake up, and I hope that this is a wake up call for people who live in the Pacific Northwest, King County, because we could have had the Central area could have still been ours if they had listened to us in 1992 when we were trying to save it. So anyway, I'm excited because I believe that we can come together, and I'll do my phoning, and that's what I will do. I mean, I will call people that I know, and to see if we can get some more people out, especially people who know how to organize. Go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
The Seattle Fire Chief Harold Scoggins is a member of the Seattle Black Firefighters Association. He was totally unaware of the sale. He said he did not have a vote on this issue, and it appears as though The president of the organization, a couple of other people, went ahead and got this move. But I guess on Wednesday we'll really find out what the real deal is when it goes before court, and we'll see exactly what's what. So, but right now we know that the house was purchased in the 1980s, and the retired firefighters are the ones that paid for it. The people selling it, the new firefighters, they don't have a dime in there.
And then they're selling it undervalue, market rate. I mean, really and truly.
No, I mean, it's a giveaway almost. But
it's a giveaway. It's a giveaway.
The attorney, Yohannes Sium, studied under Lem Howe.
Oh yeah.
And Lem Howe, out of that house, they had an office for black police officers, black transit workers. They also had a place where they could study for the upcoming exams. They also use it to recruit new firefighters. And it's, like Representative Sharon Santos said, it's a historical landmark that will qualify for additional state funding. And so, but, we don't know what the guy's reasoning is yet. His name is Douglas Johnson. He's with the Seattle Fire Department. And apparently, we need to find out exactly what's going on. And hopefully on Wednesday, the light will shine on this and we'll know what's happening.
Let me say a couple of things. First, I think the house was actually bought in the 70s. When you mentioned 1984, I think that's when Claude Harris took the case to the Supreme Court. And an important fact there was they took a loan against the house to pay for Lem Howe's legal fees as a second mortgage. And that was all paid off by 1990 before people like Doug Johnson were even part of the fire department. And I think,
Reverend Harriett, I want to say that the black firefighters started meeting at camp in the early 70s when I was director of camp.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
so
right.
I have a picture on my Facebook page. There's a lot more black firefighters then, but they were the real black firefighters, I'll tell you that. These guys were completely different than it is today. And it seems like it was 5 times more black firefighters than we have today.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah. It was, because we used to go to torchlight parades, and they'd be up there. And also the community parade, when we had the parade down in the central area, they would come there. And you know what? I'm going to say one more thing before we go. I mean, because I grew up in segregation. And if the fire engines was coming by, they never waved at us. They never would wave at us. And to see the black firefighters on that truck, it did a lot for people like myself. I mean, who came from someplace else and never had a wave. And they would wave at us. And then, they had something at the end of the year, black firefighters, fires, a ball, and a lot of other things they would be doing. Yeah, I think one time they were collecting toys for children. I mean, these people did a lot. And they deserve better than that. And so, I'm always willing to do what I can. And I'll go down my list and call some people to see who I can get to come. And then if Mr. Ride
10 seconds to mention a couple of things. First, there was a lot of young folks that came out to this last press conference, and they were really committing to get involved and pick up this fight, which I appreciate. We have a GoFundMe up on online, and I think your son linked to it in this article, which we appreciate. That's a way to support, of course, coming to the hearing, and also calling elected officials, in particular the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office is starting to get involved. They've written letters, they've filed some legal papers, but they still aren't asking, like, where's the money? That request has been ignored. We don't know where. There's no transparency, and they have the power to enforce that. So there's a phone number I want to share, 360-764-9907. Again, that's 360-764-9907. That's a representative from the Attorney General's office that you can call and tell them to pay attention to this matter.
All right. And Mr. Ryan, could you text that number to me or put it out publicly so people can see it?
I certainly will do that, Rev Harriett. You'll have it shortly.
All right. Well, thank you. It's a great article. I read it already. And some of the people that I know, like Darnell, some people that I know was texting me about it and, and all that type of stuff because they didn't know that you had already been here before and to see why I wasn't at the press conference. And so yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just keep going. Really and truly, because that's why we're still here. After 240 years of 6 years of being seasoned to be a slave, that we still here. So, and I praise God for that. I praise God for you and everybody else who's awake, aware, and engaged. That's our new word: awake, aware, and engaged. Right?
That's right.
Amen.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to go back to Hiram now. It's time for my son. So
Okay,
we're
then.
going
Thank
to
you
do it.
very much.
All right.
And
Thank you.
I'm gonna send a blessing up to Hiram. Hiram, thank you for allowing us to use some of your time to do what you want to do. If you were here right now,
That's cool. That's what Hiram did. I mean, just a
because
quick.
your brother took care of business.
Well, just the one thing about Hiram, and I'm gonna say this: Hiram lived his whole life out of the gay as a gay man, and in the '80s, Seattle was not a friendly place. It was horrible. The black churches wouldn't funeralize people. It was terrible, and when Hiram brought people home, the Central area black boys got kicked out their home, and I never knew who was there. I mean, so many people, so many young boys that didn't have a home, they wound up at my house in the '80s. Now it's a different place. But it wasn't that way in the
Right.
in the mid '80s. So so
You're absolutely
anyway,
right, Manuel.
well, yeah, we have to tell the truth. We have to tell
No,
the truth.
absolutely.
Right? I mean, they were shunned. On the families wouldn't take the ashes, and Reverend Gwen Hall started Sojourner Truth Ministry. So people who were suffering from AIDS or died, they would have a funeral. They would have somebody to funeralize them, and that's what happened. And Hiram was, he was always that way. He was always kind to people, and so he was kind to let us have a break, okay? So this is good. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the work. I mean, because this is what African people do. We might be away from Africa, but the drums still beat in our heart. All right, take care, and I'll take a
Okay,
break
thanks,
right
Brother
now.
Harriet. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Harriett. It's my joy to be on there. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. And Happy New Year out there. It is a Happy New Year. And I tell people from another culture that this is not their New Year. I say Happy New Year. And I say, I understand it's not your New Year. But, and then they always so surprised when I know February for the Asian people. I don't quite know, and I don't quite know when the Ethiopians' New Year start, because these are old calendars. The calendar that we're using is really a young calendar compared to how old the world is, and so we got some more Happy New Years coming up here in February. But you're welcome to my show today, and you know what? I'm solo, and I'm here by myself right now. I had Mr. Rydam to come on to get some breaking news that we need to know about. And I pray that people will show up, and I'm going to do what I can do about what's happening in the community. Well, today is dedicated to Hiram Clark Salisbury. Oh, my oldest. The oldest is like, wow, Now the oldest and the baby sometimes gets all the attention. The oldest opened the way, and the baby. The baby has babyitis, because everybody run to take care of the baby. Well, Hiram was such an obedient child, because I used to love to sew. I still do love to sew. I have a shoulder issue of driving 45,000 miles a year for 25 years with my eye care, with my business. I'm a mobile eye service. But when we would go shopping, when I would go shopping for fabric, I could ask Hiram to sit down at a certain place, and he would sit there the whole time. He never would get up, and he would get up only when I called him, because I used to love fabric and sewing. I learned to sew when I was 7 years old on a pedal machine, and so I've never lived without a sewing machine, and so we would go get fabric and stuff like that. And his other brother was born in 1970, who was Chakundi, so he had a few years just with me. And then Tuni came 2 years later in 72, and then Omai was born in 75. But Hiram was so loved. He really loved his brothers. And he, like I say, he lived his whole life, as a gay man. And sometimes when people say, I tell them about my Hiram, they say, well, how did he die? I said, why don't you ask me how he lived? We will all go one day. But what's important, what is the footprint that you're going to leave? We will all leave this plane of existence one day. Our ancestors did, our mother, some people, my mother died when I was 2 years old. I don't have a memory of her. But I mean, a lot of people have blessed to have their mothers a lifetime, and some people like myself have their mothers a short time. So, we never know. But my theme is love is love. Love is forever. Love is forever, and it's the only thing that lasts. Only thing that lasts. And, all over the world today, all the mothers who went to the hospital to have babies didn't go home with the babies. Some of those mothers died. Some of those babies died. All over the world. And so, and I always stop to think about them and remember them, that they went to the hospital. And so that's why my circle is wide. I don't discriminate how people are left the planet. They're gone. But, I'll be working for justice for people in another arena. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, or at Christmas time, they're not going to be there, or their birthdays. But Hiram, back to Hiram. Like I say, he just was really a sweet child, growing up. I mean, and then when his brothers came, he got to be a big brother. Oh, he loved taking care of his brother. And his younger brother that the previous guest called his name, Yohannes Salisbury, he carried Yohannes around with him all the time. I mean, he said and if you've had as many boys as I had, by the time the fourth boy comes, you're gonna let some of the other boys do the potty training. Oh, to hire potty trained Yohannes, and also he potty trained his nephew, Yohannes' son, but. And also, as they were all growing, Hiram loved to cook fry bread, Native American fry bread. Oh, with all that jelly and all that jam on it. And so he would do that. And Hiram was a good cook. A good cook. And also, one of the things that Hiram could do, I could clean up all day and it doesn't look like I cleaned up, because that's just, maybe I don't like it. But Hiram could make anything look like a Sunset magazine. He had a real flair. I asked him, he could have gone to interior design, but he did not go to that school. But he had that flair with him and that type of thing. And so knew a lot of people. And a few years ago, Chickadee, his brother he works for the city, and he was out there in Lake City. And all of a sudden, he looked up and saw a sign. And he looked up and saw a sign that had Hiram Street on it. Now, who knows? That sign could just materialize just with Chickadee, But we call Hiram high maintenance because he always wants somebody to be calling his name. So we talk about him all the time, and other people talk about him all the time. But he had a benevolent heart. Yeah, but he didn't take nothing, though. You wasn't going to go, you're not going to just kind of like step on him or try to beat him up, because he wasn't having that. He wasn't having that. And so he took care of himself. But the other thing, like I was saying earlier to the other guest, is that Hiram lived his whole life out. And Seattle was a horrible place. It was a horrible place for people who had a different way of being in the world. And I always call the people in the community. Whenever I was talking about people, in those days it would be lesbian or gay people. Now it's a lot of names out there, a lot of letters and stuff. But in those days, it was just gay and lesbian. And Seattle was just terrible. It was not an open and friendly place. It was not cool. It was not, it was tough. It was so tough until some of the families refused to take the ashes of the beloved person. And as I said earlier to the previous guests, I just giving them a little snapshot of Hiram. Hiram would bring people home. It's incredible how many young black boys got kicked out of their homes, and they didn't have a place to stay. And Hiram brought her home. Hiram brought him home, you know. So when I come home, I never knew who was upstairs or who was in the house. You know, and God provided food and stuff. But always somebody there. And a lot of those boys had already passed in the spirit before Hiram did. But just the kindness of us, that meant a lot to people. And then Reverend Hall, when she started Sojourner Truth Ministry, she says her theme was love. God is love, and love is for everyone. Love is for everyone. So yeah, it is. And a lot of the young people died with nobody with them. And so what Reverend Hall was doing was so needed at that time. It was absolutely needed. And now it's amazing what time does. It's so many churches out there say they are welcoming and affirming place for all people. It's a welcoming and a affirming place for all people. But we remember when it was not a welcoming and affirming place for all people. And that's what Reverend Hall did. She stepped up. She was not lesbian. I mean, you know, she'd been a lesbian a long time. She did have a son, though. But she started that ministry. And I had, when I started getting involved with that piece, it's like, wow, there's so many people who love God. I mean, so many people in that community that love God. And people don't want them to have no place to worship at. It's like, man, I mean, you know, if you really believe that the Creator loves everybody, I mean, that's if you believe the gospel. If you believe the gospel. Now, I'm not talking about the Hebrew scripture. I mean, because the law was there, but Jesus Christ was supposed to come to bring the spirit of love and forgiveness, and also the spirit of being able to be resurrected. It has nothing to do with the eye for an eye and all that other stuff. All this offensive stuff. It's about a eye for an eye. It's about love. And so that's what she did. And I was so impressed the first time I ever went to a service where it was gay people and lesbians. They loved God. I mean, they singing and having a good time in the church. It's like, now, what God wouldn't like these people or love these people? It was a creation of God. And so one thing about Hiram, he was so secure in who he was. I mean, you know, he wasn't hiding it. He wasn't hiding it. He came out in high school. And by him coming out, then he gave voice for other people, and we gave refuge for other people. And I'm proud of that. I am proud of the fact that we gave a refuge. And some of my boys, you know, they had to adjust themselves. You know, I'm just like, wow, you know, and you know, but what mother is not going to love all their children? It's like, oh my goodness, I can't discriminate here. And especially being an only child, I don't know how to discriminate. Yeah, I had no favorites. I mean, you know, I was the favorite. So when you're the favorite, then you know how to be, how to do this and so on. And then when I was growing up in Sanford, Florida, Goldsboro, there was a young man in our class named Sonny. And, you know, I mean, people say, oh, they used to call him all kinds of names. But I let Sonny come to my house and sew on my grandmother's sewing machine. And sometimes she said, is that a boy or a girl? That's how, Mommy. So that's Sonny, you know. So, and so anyway, I guess that I was getting prepared for Hiram to come and to have a short time here. Born in 1967 and lived to 2005. So, but a short time in the length of and longevity, but a long time in memory. Oh, a long time in memory. And in the 80s, I went to this street fair, University Street Fair. It always has so much stuff going on. And at that time, I found a sign that says, we accept all people from all countries, all ethnicities, all religion. Our house was that. And I bought that sign, and I had it, and I still have it. And it was on my door. And anybody who ever came to our house who didn't like gay people, they couldn't come back. They could not come back because we wasn't having that in our house. And, you know, one thing about love, again, when you know how to love, you can just really love. And I've had such good examples in my life of people loving me. And so it's a natural. It's a natural to love if you've had good examples to love. So you know what? Let's take a break right now, and I'll come back with this love story of Hiram. You listen to Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And this show has been dedicated to my son, Hiram Clark Salisbury. He passed in the spirit 2005, right after the day after my birthday. And I'll tell you his story, my story on how what I talked to him about when I found out that he said he wanted to pass over. But before I get to that piece, I want to talk a little bit about how I love to dance. Oh, love to dance. I mean, I love to dance, too. I used to love to dance so much, I just danced with the refrigerator. I mean, I love to dance. Especially with Motown coming on, it's like, oh, okay, I need to get up. Get up. James Brown, get up. But Hiram loved to dance. He really did love to dance. And so all his music is like his dancing music. And so like he was full of life. I mean, not to say he didn't have his down times, he did. But he was full of life. And one of the things that he loved, like I said, loved his family. I mean, we all have stories that Hiram, nobody is perfect. No one is perfect. And so I just can't say, how could I say that? And, on the end, he got himself in some situations but we loved him anyway. We have in our household, we take a licking we might take a licking like the Timex watch, but we never throw anybody away. We never throw people away. There's no throwaway people in the Salisbury family. We don't believe in that. How can we believe in that? The master didn't throw us away. If you're a real Christian, you will not throw people away, especially your own children. Now, they might not. They might go through things that you would hope they didn't do, but at the end of the day, you're going to always, personally, I think the I statement will always be there for my children. And also all the other people who call me mama. Because one of the things about Hiram be talking about me up on Broadway. Proposition 13 passed many, many years ago that said that, same-sex couples can buy homes in Seattle. And a lot of people moved up from San Francisco and bought homes in the central area. That was probably the first gentrification that went on. But also, they had a lot of businesses up on Broadway. And a lot of times, black gay guys could get a job up there. And Hiram used to talk about that. But a lot of times when I was walking, because my kids wanted to stroll the streets and want to be out on the streets, and I said, well, let's walk. So we walked Broadway together. But a lot of the people who, boys who Hiram had brought home or whatever, they knew who I was. And they said, oh, yeah, that's Hiram's mom. That's Hiram's mom. Everybody would say, oh, yeah, that's Hiram's mom. So I was quite popular in that community because I showed love. It's the only way to be in the world. Now, you do get disgusted. I've even showed care around trying to work with police officers and stuff like that. So, but walking up on Broadway, say, oh, that's Hiram's mom. Hiram's mom, And but Hiram could cook. He could cook, and he could cook very good, very, 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 very good. Hiram could cook good, and he took care of his brothers. They said sometimes he was using some karate stuff on him. Oh yeah, and I had a thing about coming home. If I came home and the kitchen wasn't clean, I wasn't cooking, and nobody could be allowed to cook. You had to go to bed. That's how I was. If I go out to work and come home, the kitchen ought to be clean. And so, they knew what the rules was on that piece. But, I want to talk about Hiram and it's how he loved his family, and especially his nieces and nephews and Omaya's kids. You've heard his name on here, because we had that. They were over at my house with my uncle Edward and where we were living at, and so Omaya's son's name is Omi. I is Omari J. But now he lives in Chicago, and he's already finished Lalo the university there, and Hiram potty trained him. Again, I said if you have a lot of boys, then you let some of the boys do that piece. Hiram potty trained him, and he used to make brownies for them. Hiram loved to cook, and he made good brownies, and he loved to take care of them. And they were over at our house often. And Uncle Edward, just going to digress for just a little moment here. My Uncle Edward was my mother's baby brother, and he came to live with me. And the reason why he could come to live with me, because I always told my children how much I loved him. Although I only seen him twice in my life, I loved him because I heard the stories of how he was kind to my mother. And so when Uncle Elwood came to Seattle, it was like my children knew him already. They knew him because I loved him, and they loved him too. And this is how love can be in the world. And my children knew that I loved Hiram and all the other people who came there. And that has an impact on you when you can see love demonstrated. Love with no strings attached, and that's what it was. But Hiram did come down with AIDS. That's what they said. And he was sick for a semester of care. He was sick for a semester. I got a call from Harborview, August 2005. I'm an artist. Nobody knows it. I'm a watercolorist sitting on 500 pieces of art. I had a gallery at one time, so-called Walden's Gallery. I've lived many lifetimes, bless my heart. And I got that call, and I went to see Hiram, and he never came home again. He was in and out of facilities. And my third son, his name is Tundi Salisbury. He was working on the East Coast, and I called him to come to help me with my business. And he gave up what he was doing on the East Coast, and he came to help me with Hiram. He helped me with Hiram by doing the work to keep the business going. I had an optical, and I was a licensed optician, but I'm retired. But by the way, opticians fill the prescriptions that the doctor write for your eyeglasses. So they're like a dispensary. He came and was with me. And was with Hiram, and Hiram was mainly never alone at the hospital. And I was with him a lot because I took off to give him a semester of care. Is what I did. And one of the things that I learned is that sometimes everybody don't like gay people. And while he was at while he was at the University of Washington Hospital, they was changing his sheets, and I left the room, and the guy socked him. And when I went back in the room, he said, "Mama, don't make a fuss about it." But what I did, if I had one mistake and one regret, is that I didn't file a report with the Seattle Police Department. I filed it with the hospital people. And of course, they could find nothing wrong with that complaint. But Hiram, so he never came home again. Like I said, a semester of care. And at Christmas and his birthday, people went up, had a birthday party for him October 23rd. And like I say, Toonie came to keep the business going. Bless his heart. He did that. And we had a pretty good business at that time. And so when I went to see him on January 1st, 2005, and the nurse at the hospital said, "Hiram says he has a gift for you when he passes over." I said, "How can Hiram have a gift for us? We don't have no large insurance policy on Hiram." That's what I said. Then I went inside. I went to see Hiram in his room, and I sent him a telepathic message. I said, Hiram, the nurse said that, you're going to move on. You're going to move on to another plane. Life after, we call it life after life, but another existence beyond time. And I said, I'm sorry you won't be here to give me a glass of water when I'm 80 or in my 80s. I said, well, son, I love you. And I said, I love my birthday. My birthday is January 4th. So Mama asked you to go before or go there afterwards. And so he died the day after my birthday, which was a January 5th. And the next year, guess what? We had a grandbaby. That's Secondary Jr., Secondary Salisbury Jr. He was born on New Year's Day. So one spirit left us and another one came. One soul left and another one came. And I had the privilege of taking him to church yesterday. He asked me to take him Chikande tall is what I call him because he's taller than his father. So we went the first day of me, and he had a great time there. He met people who had finished Howard University, and he's a freshman at Howard. All of our folks went to Elizabeth City in North Carolina. But he's a renegade. He's going to Howard and he loves it, And he had to raise his own money, a lot of it, because his dad is telling him, I got this much. But that wasn't enough to go there. It was enough to go to Liz City, though, one of the best colleges, too, also. But so January is really an up and down month for me, and I own that. He died, like I said, the day after my birthday, and a few, yeah. And I'm just so grateful that I am his mother, and that love is all there is, and love is the only thing that lasts. So let's try to be more loving to people. I know it's hard sometimes, but we can. What can we do? Yes, we can. We can absolutely love. It's the only thing that lasts now. Don't get it twisted. All this other stuff, it's not going to last, people. But how have you loved someone? Because God is love, and love is for everyone. Everyone love is for. Even the people we don't like. Even the people who we believe that they're destitute and all of that. But the Spirit of God is in them. And they were made in the image of God. We all was. And I believe that. So that's my story about my Hiram. This is a podcast soon. Tell your friends about the show. We want everybody to know what love is. Love is all there is. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Rev Walden. It's my joy to be on there. Thank you. Thank you to all our supporters. Take care.